This gospel that we just heard, brothers and sisters, recounts an appearance of Jesus to his disciples on the first Easter evening. And when they see Jesus, the disciples are disturbed by a wide range of emotions. They're startled, they're frightened, they have doubts that it's really him. They even think they're seeing a ghost. And so to help reassure them that it really is Jesus, he shows him, as the gospel says, his hands and his feet. He invites them to touch him and to see, as he says, because a ghost does not have flesh and bones, as you can see that I have. And then he even eats a piece of fish, all to reassure them that it really is him and that he has been raised from the dead. And not just spiritually or in their memories, but bodily. It says a lot about Jesus' resurrected body. For instance, that it's no longer bound by the laws of time and matter and space. But it also highlights something else, brothers and sisters, that I want to land on in the homily. Namely, that even though Easter was 2 weeks ago, the church still has us reflecting on Christ's resurrection. She still gives us this appearance of him on that first Easter night. And that's because in the church, as you probably know, Easter Sunday merely begins the celebration of Easter. It doesn't end it. The Easter season continues all the way up to the Feast of Pentecost, which this year is on May 19th. So during Lent, we abstained from good things, we sacrificed, and we prepared for 40 days, but the celebration of Easter is for 50 days. Sometimes I hear that the church criticizes, it's all about penance. Well, I don't know. Penance 40 days, celebration 50 days. Sounds like she knows something about celebration. I think if you told certain people who were really into partying that there was going to be a celebration for 50 days, they would be like, wow, man, that is awesome. Personally, I'm not sure anybody can really party for 50 days straight, but it is awesome. And part of the challenge, I think, is because what's commonly accepted as partying is different than what the church means by celebration. It seems to me often a worldly attitude towards celebration is kind of characterized by party hardy, veg out, get wasted, maybe lose consciousness. People, I think, try to forget about life, and sometimes drugs or an excess of alcohol can be used to foster it. But the Christian approach is very different, and not just because it opposes the excess use of anything, but because the Christian mindset is that celebration is not about trying to forget about life, but to remember it. You see, the fundamental Christian attitude towards life is that it's good. It's not denying that there are setbacks, difficulties, even tragedies in life, but that fundamentally life is good. And that when we have a relationship with Christ and we come to the end of our life, we enter into now the fullness of life in heaven that he's won for us by his resurrection. So the Christian celebration is about remembering that the life of God, the life which God gives us, is good. So Christian celebration is not to dull our consciousness, but to sharpen it. It's not about forgetting about life, but it's about living it more fully. And so we don't try to escape from life during celebration, but we try to enter into it more deeply. As I've reflected on this, sometimes I think as a people, Catholics do better with observing Lent than Easter. I think most Catholics end up getting ashes on Ash Wednesday and probably end up giving up something during Lent. Some people more than others, but everybody more or less is kind of aware of it. But how well do we do observing Easter? I'd encourage us, to think about doing something during the Easter season, not as a penance, but to help us live life more fully. One time, a fellow I know shared with me that during Lent, he was giving up complaining. And I thought, wow, that's a really ingenious thing. So whenever you would greet him during Lent, say, hey, Frank, how you doing? Can't complain. So if you knew what was going on, okay, yeah, this is a reminder to him. So I thought it was just awesome. But like for Easter, what do we do? I was thinking, maybe we can decide, I'm going to encourage people during the Easter season. Not just refrain from complaining, but I'm going to positively encourage people. Or I know a lot of students here went on an alternative spring break during Lent, during spring, and which is awesome. And so often they come back and they're like, yeah, I got more out of it than I gave. If that's the case, well, during Easter, okay, we don't have a week like you do during spring break, but yeah, you have a few hours here to serve those in need. You found it as a place of life. Continue it. But anyway, I guess what I'm just trying to say is we should think creatively about ways to sharpen our experience of life during the Easter season, to find some way to experience more deeply the life which Christ has won for us. In today's gospel, the disciples are amazed at Jesus, and the responsorial psalm proclaims that God does wonders for his people. It seems like wonder and amazement are Easter reactions. Pope Francis encourages Christians to wonder. In reflecting on this, he reflected on a child's experience. He said, a child allows themselves to be surprised. Pope said, a child marvels even at small things because everything is new to them. You know, I saw this once myself. I was at the Grand Canyon, and I've been there twice. I think it's aptly named. It is grand. So anyway, I was at the railing looking out over this vast scene, this vast canyon, and this young girl ran up and stood next to me at the railing. She's probably about 9. As she looks out on it, she says, wow. And then coming right behind her were an older couple, I imagine were her grandparents, and her grandfather turned to me and said, it's her first time. And she was marveling at this wonder. But you know, so Pope says, you know, children marvel at even small things. Well, they also marvel at grand things, like the Grand Canyon. But this disposition to be open to wonder and marveling is a tremendous Easter reaction. There used to be an integrated humanities program at the University of Kansas, and their motto is, let them be born in wonder. They tried to foster in the undergraduates a sense of wonder and search for truth. And in fact, wonder is expressed repeatedly in the Bible. I mean, many times people are, the shepherds are amazed at the birth of Jesus. Mary and Joseph are amazed at what was said about him. All these different people are amazed when Jesus performs miracles. Even Jesus himself expressed amazement. And it had to do around faith. At times he found people with extraordinary faith, and the gospel writer says, and he was amazed at their faith. And then one time he goes home to Nazareth, and the people write him off because they think they know him. And the gospel writer says, and he couldn't do many major works there. So amazed was he at their lack of faith. So this sense of amazement is not just for children, it's for all of us. The Lord really wants us, and Easter is about fostering wonder. By this point in the homily, you're probably wondering, when am I going to end? So, just one final thought. If you want some benchmarks to know whether our Easter season is fruitful, then I encourage you to look at the disciples in today's gospel. After they encounter the risen Lord, after they have that Easter experience, their reactions are no longer characterized by panic or fright or doubt. But Luke says they're incredulous with joy and they're amazed. They've grown in joy. Through Easter, they have a greater clarity about what they believe. They have deeper faith in this Lord. And they're ready to love and serve him and others. And so if by Pentecost, May 19th, we can say something similar, then we've had a fruitful Easter season.